I gotta admit, I love watching that each time. It's just before this about to happen. It's just fucking awesome. So yes, another day, and I have to admit, I lied. Yeah, definitely starting a lot later today. I completely forgot my previous rule that I've now firmly established is no more um, working late on weekdays. I think I addressed exactly why that happened, the bitter irony of what happened previously, and slowly but surely until things kind of wind down. Um, yeah, this is gonna how this this is how the schedule is gonna be um, uh, for a little bit until, like I said, until it balances out. Um, so yeah, first half of the week, at least Monday or Tuesday, Monday through Wednesday, will be um, investment, ride share, first half of the day, and then uh, we got Pierce Acoustics for the following half of the day. So that's where we're at now. And of course, I had to kind of stop and unwind when I came in the door. At least gave myself some time to relax, cook some dinner, just unwind for the first time a little bit. So that was good. And I have to stop and say, outside of address, I'm done address. We'll address what happened before, why I changed my schedule again later. But I do have to stop and say that recently I've just I, I found gold mine. I found hidden gems, and I found reasons and ways to make eating practical and affordable. Which now it's just blowing my mind at this point. Why there's any conflict in that. If there are areas, you just gotta know where to look. Just dig, That's all I can say is dig. Because a lot of times, like I said previously, they'll leave the best prices directly underneath. I don't know who who they're saving them for. Maybe just you. They're saving them for the person that's waiting to lift them up and look and find the best price, typically near the bottom. Or if you do happen to have a save a lot near you, this is someplace up in. I mean, I go to the local food fair. I don't know. That's completely new to me, but incredibly popular in the area. But I've also been going to Save a Lot regularly. These ones in particular, I mean, they're. I mean, if you're looking for decent quality, comparable groceries, I mean, it sure as hell beats the crap out of Walmart. And I know that, and this is what I have to. This is why I have to say this, because I know they've ingrained it into us that they always have low prices. But I don't know if you noticed even more recently, that those prices tend to fluctuate and even change at a rapid rate. And I can tell you right now that these prices are, I mean, they're unfathomable. Like I literally, and it varies. It just depends on the meat of the day or the special of the day. But I'll go in there. I just got a family pack, and I run and go get the package for you. Actually, I go get the real quick. I got this is. I've almost finished the watermelon. I couldn't finish the water. I'm about to go down on the watermelon, but just to give you an example, I mean the watermelon. I can't. Maybe it's anyways. Paid less than $3 for a half a cut of watermelon. But I know a lot of times for the whole watermelon, what I was getting at Kroger's, I believe was closer to 10. So for that to be conveniently sliced in a full quarters cut of watermelon, and like I said, this is a local grocery store. So if these are mom and pops owned franchises, they still get quality local sorts. Like, yeah, that watermelon was red, not pink, not white. It was red. you know, and a lot of times I will get seeds in it too. So it shocked the hell out of me to see. But anyways, I was like, well, it still exists somewhere. But the meat, the beef, I know for a fact came from, from local cows, or it did, at least did not come nitrogen packed, or you know drenched in formaldehyde. I know that much. I've experienced it enough to know, experimented enough with it to know. But these quarters, I shit you not, I'm not joking. For not just the chicken leg, but the thigh with the two, and maybe a little extra because I think somebody, I missed the cut. It came actually four. That's two birds in one pack. Okay, for $3. For $3, $3. Now tell me if you're finding anything better than that anywhere else. I shit you not. For $3. You said why? And I sat and looked at the same thing because the first it changed. They labeled it 3 times. They changed the label at 3 times. They dropped it down $1 at first. Said, you know what, fuck it. Come buy the chicken for $3. It's been, since the beginning of the, I guess against the beginning of the day, whatever. So I went to. It's been a couple hours now since I've already got it, cooked it up, and ate it. So it hadn't even been sitting there that long, but it changed. Had 3 labels on it. And you have to wonder why, but I know, no, I could see somebody hacked it up right then and there. There's pieces hanging out. I don't eat the other pieces. I don't know about. I'm not questioning. I'm not getting anybody else about what and how they eat. But when I go for animal, I'm there for one particular reason. That's the meat. So if there's anything else hanging off there, there's a little bit of waste. It's not really waste. I give it to Panda, but I ain't sure as hell eat it. But I know that's a telltale sign that came from an actual bird. And I'm very happy with that for $3. $3 marinated for about 2 hours in Italian dressing. It's particular preference when I'm dealing with white meats. But like I said, sky's the limits when it comes to salad dressing. And yeah, nice little sprinkle, kept it in the pan, draped some mozzarella, some tomato over top of it afterwards, drizzle some balsam reduction, kind of gave it, anyways, it was fucking delicious. And good for the, I think, I swear to God, everything that, and with the watermelon included, it was less than $20, and I'm gonna be able to eat for 2 days. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Panda and I will be eating for 2 days. So I'll be feeding two for 2 days for less than $20. I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe it. If anybody, I swear to God, if anybody's having questions on how to eat affordably, let me know. I'll give you as much information as I can. As I've just got, you gotta browse. You gotta hit it on the right, and you just it becomes instinct. Almost like a hunter stalking its prey in the wilderness. We're stalking our prey in the grocery store shelves, at least for the time being, until I can really get this homestead thing going. Because that's high priority. I mean, literally just started by throwing seeds in the ground, and the strongest survive. So now I have some of the strongest pumpkins and some of the strongest tomatoes coming out of the ground. But yeah, definitely got to diversify as much as possible. Because we need literally, and I can't really explain it any other way, but just you know, it just changes your mental state entirely when you start ingesting just the right things. So if I don't necessarily consider myself even a picky eater. I'm not a picky eater. I will eat almost anything if survival depends on it. I will. But the idea is just we're overrun with a complete lack of options. And it's not an exaggeration. We really got to start. If we want to make progress, we got to start leading by example, following by example, and it will not only make you healthier, but your mental health will go because your pockets will be swollen. Not saying my pockets are very fat. They're actually quite empty at the moment, but everything's, you know, in even proportion. So yeah, you'll feel better. Not only health food, well, your physical health, but your mental health, your mental state will feel better. Actually, in both, because I can literally speak from personal experience when it was from garden to table, every ingredient. There's something to it. I don't know. There's something to that. I get it. I get 100. There is something to. There is a connection between, I think, our current state of depression and what we're ingesting on a day-to-day basis. Follow me more on that. I don't know. We'll experiment. I'll use myself as a guinea pig. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just trial and error. But I've experienced once, and I know I'm desperate to experience again. But either way, without further ado, going into what I really want to talk about, it's been somewhat of an exciting afternoon already too, because what came out of pure accident once again, just rolling the dice and seeing where it lands. In a way, this one was more coordinated, but I wanted to keep up on current events. I want to keep everybody else up on things on current events. When you're running your own business, you need to stay up to date on current events, because if anybody does something this way or that, and it clashes with something you're doing, you need to be able to exactly rope it. I'm not sure if I'm using that right, but you want to go ahead and be able to duck or dodge this way or that if something's coming at you, or just not necessarily coming at you. You know what I mean? That's just the game that you're in. You're watching the other players do their thing. They're watching you like a hawk, maybe like an eagle, maybe more like a hawk, like a Tony Hawk. Shout out to my man Tom Green. I love that motherfucker. I'm so glad he's doing this thing again. I'm just like, bro, how can we really come to the same conclusion on this? So, and he's technically, like I said, he's the next generation. He's like an older brother in a way, but we still, kind of reach the same, follow along. There's some good ideas there. We lived and learned. We've had great experiences. Not to say that they're completely out, but I think there's just a better way to go about doing it sometimes than just all or nothing. The fact, bam, Tom Green, the fact that Steve O's still here, brand new set of teeth. You gotta sit there and just sit there and knock on wood and say, you know what, we got lucky once. We made it out of the casino, and we had a good hand. I'm not a gambler. I'm not gonna. I only go for a sure thing. I gotta tell you the truth. I only go for a sure thing. So stick with the older head. Stick with the older brother. And again, you're gonna guide us in the right direction on that one. That's the founder of the podcast, the founder of the indie generation, and one of the best comedians I've ever witnessed. He's got his card. He's got his pass. For most Canadians, they don't really, at least for me, they don't really have one. But he's got one. But anyways, without further ado, let's bring this up. I should have already been working my way into it. But realistically, all right. So we are starting new segment. Essentially, just that music news and 100% in the now. And I'll this story gets more and more interesting as we go along. But right now, we do have to establish that Martin, one of the best acoustic lines in ever, ever, having played them, been around them, immersed myself in them, I can tell you that only good things come out of this company. And do I look up to them as much as I look up to Tom and Green? Yes, equally, if not much more so. Kind of a foundation there. But they just come out with a Sean Mendez signature series. and it immediately piqued my interest. I'm talking to my assistant. I'm sitting here. We're shooting ideas back and forth, and they bring that up. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? They're coming. They just dropped a new line today, and they came out with two. Show me this. And now I do, like I said, you do have to be 100% careful with AI, and especially when you're asking questions in particular. Do some background research. If we've learned anything from our time in grade school, that means follow up and follow up again. So I immediately asked for an image of this guitar. I wanted to see what it looked like, if it had direct access to a particular database. I was hoping it would just bring up a website image of some kind, or at least a variation on a theme to avoid copyright. I get that. So instead of seeing this in particular, uh, 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 okay, the orange shirt's maybe just a little bit too much for you right now. But yes, this right here, which is actually fairly well designed, to be honest with you. From my original conception, I gotta sit here and stop and admire this. That even though it's a traditional body, it does go back to the 20s where those curves are a little more direct and most definitely to the point and to the era for sure. This is where we're trying to really capture men's attention with this silhouette style, for many reasons. I mean, it's also symmetrical. It's a nice place to rest your leg, and then at the same time, it's a proven design. It works. It works acoustically. It works. You're not going to get much better tones, and they're going to vary depending on the silhouette style. um, Considering it has transformed to a more standardized version today, and that's what I was originally met with when I asked AI to generate an image of this particular guitar. And I'll get a close up. I'll try to get a close up of the actual version here as well. But you can see that it definitely over exaggerated the inlay by a mile. And then of course the silhouette, if you can see what I mean by the standardized version now, it didn't really pique my interest. Like it just kind of stuck out as like, oh, okay, just another, regular version. And then of course I almost felt like I can reach out and smell the Esteban case that came with this. There was just something about it. It just didn't seem like high end. But like I said, just be 100% careful when you're asking AI questions entirely, because when you're looking for accurate, real world results, accurate answers that compare with facts in the real world, yeah, it might get a little off. So had I went and just based my opinions on this particular design, I was going to be sorely disappointed. But going off of their this model, it's actually really good, and I have to commend them once more for now leading leading to another, like a stack of dominoes, one thing leading to another, wherein I initially established, in this conversation, I is it gonna bring it back up? There we go. Okay, so when I'm in the middle of this conversation, I can't help but voice my opinion is that I was somewhat disappointed. Not just that I was like, if those were the inlays, if those were the actual inlays, I was incredibly impressed. Those photorealistic, and then of course the the fact that they got the mother of pearl to correspond with different parts of the bird to give like textured accuracy, actually flying over the mountains is incredible. Of course, I already knew this was an AI-based image, but still, that was one thing that was at least going to stand out. That it has an incredibly ornate neck inlay. not too much else. And then it just kind of delved on. It's like, the color scheme even actually, now looking at their version, I would say that the color scheme does, but I would have liked more of a rare and antiquity kind of aesthetic to it personally. Just personally. I'm just saying it. And you know if you don't even know who Shawn Mendes is already, it's just he's kind of like the Hispanic Ed Sheeran. And if you don't know who Ed Sheeran is, get the fuck off my goddamn live stream. Um, but it has a modern, like if you had just gone out and bought it, kind of, yeah, it, I get it, like that coffee shop kind of, yeah, for sure. It holds true, and for the design itself, and you can tell they use a very high quality. I'm not gonna go for that kind of look. Maybe I should see what type of wood that they introduce with it. But very much it fits that style, and you can even tell that the bodies. Well, they have two different styles. They have a shorter tone. Like if you're playing in your apartment, and they have a more baritone variety. It's going to give you more of a broader, much more whole sound. And yeah, they look fucking fantastic. The big cards even, it's unique. I like it. And it's even got this like Egyptian kind of. Hold on, let me see. Get a little bit closer on it. Hold on, because it's oh, oh, yeah. We scratched him for 2 hours today. I swear to God. It was broken up into segments, but if you add it all together, it's had more than enough time. Okay, so we're looking at this. I'm looking at this one, and yeah, if we add that, there we go. So you can get a little bit closer on what I'm talking about. You can see, yeah, very much 1920s inspired. That definitely has that coffee shop appeal that sticks to him. But when I was thinking about something that spoke to the 1920s in general, if I was going to try and theme something, that's when it started sparking all these extra ideas. Like, what if what if, hmm. So then, one thing led to another, and you know, hold on, wait, no, no, no. Oh, my mind is pulling me in so many directions right now, guys. Bear with me. Okay. So, as I have said, one thing has certainly led to another where I asked, what would happen? Because as I said, I would want that in antique patina to it, if something, and not to say, because if this was coming from Brooklyn, not to say that Brooklyn's an overly dark place, but when we're talking about the roots of where the music comes from, a lot of it comes from dark places. And if you're talking about, um, you know, a lot of time, with used gear bought in a pawn shop somewhere that's been sitting there over time. If it's been sitting there over time, the age quality tends to darken. So I would expect something darker, or at least a darker type of wood. So that's when I went with the idea of like a Cerakote or a Brazilian rosewood, something like that to give, uh, not overly complex, but a nice exotic feel, but a nice brown. If you ever look at the radios coming from that, everything's kind of that brown walnut, roasted mahogany kind of feel. So something like that. And then of course, brass speaks to me for the era. So brass hardware with with nice mother of pearl tips that would, you know, for the knobs to kind of accent the mother of pearl inlays that we had just seen that were overly exaggerated in this AI version. Okay, so okay, now I'm getting it. I'm understanding. The panda segment will involve advanced advanced wrestling and dog training techniques. And I mean training on being a this is pure dog right now. He's just having so much fun just nibbling on my arm. And so like I said, it's kinda like play fighting. I get it. He's not actually fighting, he's just trying to learn how to be a dog. But like I said, one thing led to another, and I had to get rid of a lot of the extra images. It slowly but surely led to this, where I said a darker type of wood style. Wasn't so keen on the brass or on the acoustical. I knew right already that that could have some acoustic drawbacks. And of course, we're looking at the shortest scale of imaginable, but more or less like a ukulele version. And yeah, I already had to change the eagle inlay. I'm not ready to rip off PRS that much, or anybody else that uses the eagle in that fashion. But you can see it was starting to evolve, and even beforehand, it there were other versions which are dissolved. Oh yeah, it's like so we started to evolve to a higher neck length, and it got a little bit more familiar. Like I said, I'm nothing against the traditional acoustic body. For me, I just, it's been done. It's been done. Not that I won't do it. It's just that I'm not, you know, why would you want to come to me to get the exact same? You know what I mean? Like, go from McDonald's to go to Burger King. I never got that. I mean, there are two. They are somewhat two different burgers, I guess. So I guess it's bad comparison, but it is similar. You're kind of going to me for the exact same thing. And as a customer myself, I would have to wonder why. Only that I know Martin makes great fucking guitars, so don't have to tell me if I'm going for the traditional body, that's where I'm going. But where else would I go for anything else? Man, oh my god, I'm so ready to take you outside, but okay. So we started going along, and I said, like I said, I wanted to see what it looked like. I gotta get move some of the brass around the acoustical, or at least make it practical, because that seemed solid. And I wanted to obviously uh, go a bit more ornate on the like something that spoke with what we had. And without further ado, slowly but surely getting there and refining some of the other. Definitely go from here. We land here, and inadvertently creating the first Pierce acoustic, wherein acoustics is a general term for sound. So when I went for acoustics, generally, that didn't really mean that I was going to be specializing in acoustics, even though it is a bit of an ironic name, as if that was the direction I was going. But that being said, it wasn't that I wasn't eventually going to get into it. It's just that my main interest at the time were electric guitars, or I wanted my own electric guitar that was um, idealized off of the heritage of guitars. If you go back and you look for where the body style of the lute even originated, I mean, you can run that look back is I mean it's almost as early as time began, I guess. Uh, it it's to me it's a culmination. It's a culmination of all of those different areas where, as the instrument traveled and the music traveled with it, and it landed and stopped in various locations, the body style itself didn't really change much. Each culture added its own unique characteristics based on the music style they're going for, but it all seemed to have, it was rounded. It's a very rounded and unique shape. It's very much honed and refined. So, like I said, both styles work. They're acoustically sound and perfected. Good God, man! I have never seen you this happy. I even thought I gave him catnip. I mean, I know the chicken was good. I just, I should. I'm gonna start doing it more if I can get it for $3. I mean, come on. Yeah, no more spam for us, guys. No more. I mean, believe me, there's been days I told myself I'd never eat that shit. But, for what it is, there's a time and place for everything. Like I said, I'm not picky. If it comes down to survival, I'll eat it. No more. Yeah, I can tell. If you eat something it's better for you, it's better for your mental state. I've never seen anybody so happy before. But not to get too far off a track and too far off of the path of where I was originally going. This inadvertently led me to the first, one of many, because I landed on several. I wanted to go where I really want to go. And unfortunately, where I'm at right now, we're focused on the first electrics, the P1s coming out right now. So even this model is clearly a few months away. So there's no way in hell I'm going to show everything that I want to do in the next few months. If somebody else is technically capable, no, nope, no. I want to, no, not happening. But this led to several, I think, 5 different body styles that I landed on. And if you count it, each one would have a signature kind of cutaway. Oh, all right, you know, um, not that he's not. It's not that he's a distraction in any way, shape, or form at this point. It's just that. Yeah, there you go, buddy. There you go. You got it. Okay, you got it. Okay, so all right, done with that. Into the news segment for the day. Yeah, he's finally doing what he needs to do. Now, as I said, this inadvertently led to what is going to be the first. It's like I said, this is the standard, as standard as you can get with those few tools. Like you have to at least round the corners, at least that much. I feel like traditionally that's where we started to get away from that. Originally, almost completely around teardrop, if you will. And coming from somebody that, when you play those acoustics and you end up with that line on your forearm and yeah, no. So some curves around the corners out, more traditional inlays, traditionally modern, mother of pearl inlays, which you can't see the knobs now, but the knobs would match in a darker wood with not so much polished brass. Polished brass doesn't really speak to me as far as the 20s goes, or that era goes. It was very much, even though it was industrial, a lot of stuff was still done by hand. So I would think more of a brushed brass and a very thin strip around the sound hole. And of course, with the pegs and hardware as well. I mean, it could vary. In between bone and brass, depending on what you're looking for. Both have very distinct tonal qualities and work incredibly well for what I would think this was asking for. So yes, uh, it, in asking, the questions of what it would be like if Shawn Mendes had asked me to design his signature guitar, this is what I would have landed on. Of course, that's already out the window, Sean. You've already signed with Martin. I can't, there's things I can't do. Can't do. It's written in ink. You know, check the fine print before it's just done. It's signed away. So this won't technically be the Shawn Mendes signature, but this will very much be the first Pierce acoustic, uh, no name, no name yet, no name. Work on that. And very much interested in this customized guitar stand. Make no mistake, this is clearly artificial. No way, shape, or form. This is it's physics working in this image. But the idea is sound with that custom guitar stand as well. It may be an included feature as one. I don't want you just resting my guitar anywhere. And so many people that sit there and rest your guitar on the neck. Oh my God, I want to reach to the screen and slap you. I have a very unique set of skills. I will, if you set my guitar on the neck anyway, no, you. So I think just for the sake of everybody, including myself, with the peace of mind that it's in good hands, it should. I'll, I'll look at the. I don't think that cost. If we factor it in somehow, I'll lay out the cost of what it would take to how much wood, and it doesn't have to be exotic wood. And honestly, I think from the way it's designed, it could easily be done with leftover cuts and still done right. So yeah, I don't think this could be an um, included as part of the kit. You get the guitar and you get the stand with it, and I've often considered the case too. Yeah, I've often considered that a nice exotic wooden case. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I want to make sure it gets there in one piece in the right way, and of course, it's well maintained. It's a legacy. It'd be nice to see that, that his guitar was inspired by one that was found. It was made in the 1920s, and it's still clearly playable enough to the point where it inspired his guitar. That would be lovely. Where this being made in the 2020s could be found somewhere in 3020, right? Or 3010. I don't think he. No, I think he obviously bought it like a few years back, but somewhere around the same kind of time frame, and inspire another generation. Who knows? Yes, built to last. Built to last. American ingenuity needs to be brought back, and that's it. I'm sold. I'm sold. I don't know about you. I'm sold. That's it. That is it. That's the first of many. Like I said, I can't show you the other styles as much as I would really love to. I do. I can say that if anybody's been paying attention to what my previous cover photos would have had, this would have probably even been 2 years back. So I don't expect anybody to remember. Not even myself. But I do. I do very vividly. It inadvertently at that time did the exact same thing and spawned an image of what had at that moment became in my mind the first Pierce acoustic if I ever get to it. As I said, I wanted to focus on the electric because that was where I have my foundation in music originally. Now, yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, there's places for it everywhere. Personally, I just hadn't really found there's very few that you can pick up and feel as comfortable as an electric, and that's what's kind of steered me away from it. Not that I haven't played some that are incredible, more 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 so towards the Gibson Hummingbirds, but Could I ever afford one? At this point, at any point previously, no, hell no. Could barely afford to walk in there and play the damn thing for free. But I would. I would go into the Guitar Center acoustic room, and if you haven't done that, and it's an experience that needs to be experienced by every guitar player, and literally just pick one up and go through each one. And some of them, I mean, it's just it's hit or miss. I like it this for it's more classically oriented. So I could see myself if I even did make this a nylon version, this becoming even more playable. But the idea is to make it as comfortable and as playable as possible. I know it kind of goes against the legacy. You're technically supposed to make your fingers bleed as an entry level guitar player. It's kind of a prerequisite, but nobody's saying that you know afterwards there are certain that you you paid your dues. There's guitars like this waiting for you after the fact, waiting for you. All that hard work and all those dues that you paid into to finally just effortlessly pick up and just allow expression, creativity to emit. So yes, look forward to this. Yes, and I'm incredibly thrilled to look forward to this and many more to come. When we're looking at customization, the ideas are equally limited, equally limitless to as many others that and all the other products and examples that I've displayed so far. So yeah, sky's the limit, but this is the one. This is it. We did it. Yeah, if I were doing it, if I were going to do it, this would have been it. But now, it's your tribute. It's your signature guitar. It's my signature guitar. Our signature guitar. Yeah. Any kind of tweaks that you feel is necessary, then it becomes your signature guitar. So very happy about that. 100% happy about that. Thrilled about that. They accidentally, in trying to keep up with current events as every business and industry should, inadvertently creating and conceptualizing new ideas that were already rooted in something, ideas before, more so on the other versions. This is more closer to just what I would do for that standard silhouette acoustic body style that we all have come familiar with for the last several decades. That would be it. That's what I'd have to do in order to make it work because I can't do what somebody else is doing with a clean conscience one or with any kind of legitimate business sense. I mean, it just unless you're offering something complete, and there are some of those guitar techs that are out there that do take that silhouette to next levels and beyond. I'm not going to go ahead and name any right now, just because. But they they are out there, and once again, that's already established as well. So who am I to go and jump in on that too? This is as close as I can get to that and feel good about that. And I'm very happy about that. I just want to see, I want to see it happen. I know you want to see it happen. We're going to see it happen. It's just that right now I'm in the middle of perfecting the P1, the bolt top version, which is still fairly rounded. Um, Currently, just anyways. No, we'll get to that next segment. Uh, Probably about to sign off once again. Just keep this fairly quick, just because offset schedule, and mainly the high highlight of this particular live stream is, just illustrating what's yet to come and what is around the corner. Um, more on everything else later, but I do have um, some follow up stuff to do, to make sure everything's linked to me. And yeah, I want to be working on that through the rest of the night to make sure that gets done and over with. Um, there, there updates, updates. You know, but it's a good thing. Storytelling. There's something to storytelling. You know, it keeps the ideas fresh, keeps the momentum going, and yeah, keeps it consistent. So, just anything else while I'm here, while I'm doing this? No, I think that's about it right now. I'm fairly tired at the moment. Um, I'm not gonna lie. It has been a fairly interesting day. I guess I will at least touch on a few highlights. That's like I said, this is my personal page, so we can talk about anything, not just music, not just business. I think we get drilled enough during the day with business, but yeah, fairly interesting. I'm noticing that um, it's definitely starting to build. The population is starting to grow. Um, I don't know who's getting the word out. They kind of need to stop, but in a better direction. I know with um, what's notably like you know homelessness and whatnot. That's an ebb and flow. It's an interesting area where um, they're not very quick to just demolish things down and build up what we think is new. Everything here is still very much the same brick it was probably in the late 1800s. Um, so either some people have kept up with it and modernized it, but a lot of it has been um, left to what left to what you will, and it's created places where people can easily hide and do whatever they want to. But now with the increase, people, they're moving in and they're filling in a lot of those gaps, and they're pushing them in different directions. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with some of the politics in the background. The individual that got in my back seat that one night that apparently was running one of the homeless shelters um, is now a a diehard addict themselves. So I think it's an ebb and flow. But for my I am seeing less. I saw a rise and then I see less. I saw a rise, see less. And I think it's finally starting to hit. I think, word gets around. These are small towns. People do talk, and word's getting around. That there are other better, newer, better ways. Is really when you're trying to do something good and um, you know give somebody your spare change. You have to realize at this point that it's not really. Sometimes it is, and maybe stop to ask questions first before you hand out your money at this point. But for the majority of what I've seen, it's not really going to a good cause at this point. We can redirect it to other places, and especially if you're putting it into the taxes to go to fund some of these shelters, it goes to a better cause that way. So, um, try, trying to steer clear and ignore the ones that we do see, and it's slowly but surely making the ones that we had seen no longer seen. So it's starting to catch on. It is starting to get better, and people are, just out having a good time somehow. Everything here is seasonal, so it's like now everything's changed with the seasons. And it's so interesting to see. I took um, I don't know if I want to even. I'm trying to say that if I want to even talk about this, um, because I could get in trouble. I think from what had happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. But somebody's wife or wives um, could be, you know, kind of what's the word? Incriminated. Though, like I said, nothing happened. Nothing happened. I just, I get, it led to an interesting turn of events. I'll just say that much. And I want to say it. I'm trying to get into it, but I'm like, should I really? No, I'll just say that much. It led to a very interesting set of events that now make 100%. It's now 100% clear to me why things happened the way they happened. Just because now I know who they are, and um, yeah, and of course the circumstance that they put themselves in. Anyways, yeah, yeah, but just good people having a good time. It ended up, I will say, it ended up turning into a karaoke session, um, just on a whim. This is why I do this. You do this just to have fun. I just, if you're out here trying to have a good time, come out having a good time, and don't feel bad about it. A lot of times we feel really bashful, or a certain way that we're put on the spot for wanting to open up, let loose, and just do with what feels comfortable. Don't ever feel bad about that. So yeah, I cranked it up. I listen to music I had never listened to in a million years. Their first song they asked me to put on was Nelly Furtado, uh, "Promiscuous Girl." And at the time, it didn't sink in. But now I think they were trying to tell me something by that, and it slowly it landed. It kept going to Apple Bottom Jeans. Is that I don't know if that's the name of the song, but I would never fucking listen to it. I do listen to Flow Rider, a couple of his songs. I mean, Round and Round was fucking right round, whatever the fuck. That was a good rendition. That shit was fucking all over the place, and it just made The Hangover that much better of a movie. But that, I think it was slowly but surely leading something. That's why I said, like, if I'd really been paying attention to what was going on then, now it makes sense why things happened the way they happened. Nothing happened. Um, but it was almost, you can tell like they were almost being coerced to happen. Um, Almost to the point where I was invited into the karaoke session. Like I said, it was leading up to karaoke night. What ended up leading into karaoke night in the vehicle, listening to artists I would never fucking listen to, or maybe the artist, yes, but the songs, no. Um, and finally landing on a country song that was the most appropriate. I finally said, yes, this is the the song that you should that you should sing tonight. That's the song. You guys should sing that song. Go ahead and land on that, and have a good time. Go ahead. Um, yeah, I'm glad. I had shit to do. I knew right then. I think I picked up one other person after the fact, but I was like, no, I need to go home. I need to work on the intro. Got to get that shit done. Important business. It's responsibility. Trying to start a multi-trillion-dollar industry here, guys. I'm very serious about this. The fact that we are going to be running on water soon. We are done with gasoline. I have taken every step and every precaution necessary to secure this product and make sure that it's actually going to work, make sense, and make his debut date, and we're getting there. We're working there. I'll keep up more with that as we go along as well. I know that's incredibly important. I really love the guitar. I want to do. I'm doing both. I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all. I do know that for me, I'm not saying that one would be easier to manufacture than the other, but when you look at the actual mechanical components of what I'm talking about are a little bit easier than the guitar itself, which is why I have focused more on this. And we are originally a guitar amp, Bluetooth company, but I've always considered myself a musician first. One, which is why I'm not just limited to one instrument, and then two, I really, really aspire and look up to Yamaha, a company that literally does it all and excellent quality. Don't tell me that their pianos are some of the most, you know, they're very good. They're very good. Their grands are actually really good. Some of their keyboards are actually well known. The guitars, not so much. Some of their acoustics are okay. First, I think it depends on the model, but they've done good, and actually they were some of the first to integrate some of the newest technologies and the smart technologies into guitars. So let's not stop to land on that too. I've been paying attention to them for a long time. Don't act like we forgot. Do not act like we forgot. That was back in 2007. I remember that guitar. 2000, no, early to late 2000s. It wasn't. It was a while ago. At least a decade. At least over a decade. Uh, the first smart type guitar. Yeah, with fully built-in effects and the nice LED ring. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember what it was called. Why? It didn't really take off too well. A lot of people didn't like the digital sounds that it was getting, but it was ahead of its time. I'm telling you right now, I guarantee if we found one, somebody would go to work. But their motorcycles, once again, their off road, their ATVs, well renowned, great quality, very well versed. That's an industry I want to look into. So that being said, just because we originally, and this is what I said, since 20, I got a lot. I've got 6 years I'm trying to make up for it. I started this venture in 2020. Started with the guitars and amps. We're going to focus on guitars and amps. But this recent crisis, and this is actually an idea that goes back a lot further than that. And like I said, I'm not like the originator of the concept. I've just refined it, and now we're going to mass produce it. We're going to give it to the masses. And I'm telling you, it's just inception. It's not just an enhancement, a booster. No, these vehicles can and will run 100% on water. Just a slight little tweak, a tiny little tweak. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Tweaks. I'm not going to go too in depth, as I said. Time will show and demonstrate. But um, yes, that's something that is critical. That there's response. I know it. There's a responsibility in that to make sure that that gets done. What that means, just got to cut it early. There are times, there's great stuff going on in there, and I am going to stop. And I'll bring my phone. I'll bring live with me so you can experience it yourself. We'll go out and we'll have a good time when there's reason to celebrate. And just right now, it's still right on that ragged edge, hit or miss. If I fuck around and do nothing about it, it'll just fade into nothing. So yeah, we're not doing that. We're not gonna let it fade. Uh, no, we're gonna bring it to the masses. So I just, and I'm tired. I just, you know when the situation's just a certain situation, you know. So that's why it's just best to keep everything professional. I swear to God, if you're ever doing rideshare and you're ever put into a certain situation where you feel your comfort levels teetering, keep it professional. Just go with that. Did I have a great time? Fuck yeah. It was a pretty good. It was a pretty good venture while it lasted. Um, Unfortunately, I'm not sure if they did this on purpose or not. They ended up leaving their cell phones in the back, and I had to stop it. So even then, because it was going to get to the point where they thought, oh, he must have taken it, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, one, bro, I'm at that point where if I'm taking some shit, I'm robbing a fucking casino. Get out of town for this little tiny petty shit first, though. And as I just stated, I'm I'm starting a multi-trillion-dollar industry here with this. I got no time for the bullshit. So I think it was inadvertently now that that, like I said, I've stepped back and see what was going on. It almost seemed like this is a way because they said they tracked it back to my location. Ooh, I always checked it, and I told him I was like, dude, I was so tired. I just, what I do, I go there, maybe hit a joint, I watch a few things, and I fucking pass the fuck out. Or before I know it, I pass the fuck out. A lot of times I'll stay up, and it just hours fly by before I even realize it. But either way, the last thing on my mind is checking the vehicle. Now check the fucking vehicle, everything. You never know what the hell's back there. And now I know there's something if somebody leaves their phone in the back seat, be careful, be cautious. Weird shit can happen. And I'll leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, I don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't want to get anybody else in trouble. But now I know why certain things happen the way they happen. Oh yeah. Yeah. Instead of going through that tonight, I've already taken care of that today. So now we're going to focus primarily on Pierce Acoustics aspect, the highlight of Pierce Acoustics, and that's just linking everything together, getting the site up and running in the way it needs to be. I know we're all, I'm clinging to it myself. It's gone on way too fucking long. But as I said, I'm doing this on my hands. Well, I'm using my hands to do it. And yeah, no experience required or desired. So, well, at least in that. And I've never done web design before. This is my first. I've done graphic design. I've never done web design. Never done computer coding. So, like I said, it's always good to learn a new skill when you can. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. That pretty much covers it for now. Um, the next not the next couple of days, like I said, it's gonna be a different schedule because I am working in the first half. Um, it's flipped. It's reversed. So we'll be doing this later the next couple of days, and then we'll get right back on the regular schedule from Thursday to Sunday, every day, every day. So yeah. That being said, um, I appreciate every one of you and all the support. It leaves me without words. I can't really express it enough. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. I think we started singing it, so, but keep it heavy, keep it original, and as always, keep it easy.